Hi, welcome to this video on Windows Azure Storage options. My name is Darni Gracelyn and I'm a Microsoft MVP. So this is my email ID darnigrace@gmail.com. So if you have any queries or any suggestions, you can mail to my email ID or post it on my blog, darnigrace.wordpress.com. So inside my blog I've got a lot of videos on Microsoft products like .NET application development for WCF services, MVC applications, web form applications, and so on. So we will go ahead with this video. So in this video I will be mainly focusing on Windows Azure storage options, and the first storage option will be on block. So we know already what is Windows Azure. Windows Azure is Microsoft's cloud computing, like how we have for Google, Amazon. So Microsoft product for cloud computing is Windows Azure. So Windows Azure, if you go into the portal, it is much easier to work with, and for developers it is very easy to deploy your application, create websites, deploy your websites, create Windows based applications and deploy them, mobile applications and deploy them. So it's becoming very easy with Windows Azure. And moreover, they have a very important option which is called as storage options, wherein you can whatever you store on the on-premise device, you can also put it on your cloud and store them. Okay, so if I go for Windows Azure storage options, they have diverse storage options. You have two types, what is called as Windows Azure Storage Services and SQL Azure. So we have to know the difference between when to choose what, when I will be going for Windows Azure Storage Services or SQL Azure. So before that, what is inside the Windows Azure Storage Services is what we have: blocks, queues and tables. So what is blobs? Blobs is called as binary large objects. If you want to store large data, huge data, like pictures, videos, okay, and then files, okay, so in that case you can put them in blobs. And queues are basically if you want to store messages, then you can place them in queues. So when you will be using messages, if you have gone through the Windows Azure portal, developer portal development, you know that to create Windows Azure applications you require roles. You have three types of roles: web role, worker role and VM role. So if you want to have a communication between these roles, like a web role wants to communicate to a worker role and worker role to a web role, you will create messages. So where will you place these messages is inside the queues. Okay, so you know what is a blob, what is a queue, and tables. Okay, tables is again like if you want to create, if you have on-premise tables, okay, structured data, then you can place them inside the Windows Azure Storage Services tables. But the tables option is completely different from what you have in SQL Server tables. The tables in Windows Azure Storage Services have a different schema. Okay, so it is structured but it is not relational, and also you can have any number of data. The columns in the tables, okay, need not be the same. You can have one column with the data, the other column you can have skip some data. You can have different formats, data formats in every column. Say you have a date column, date entity. These columns we call them as entities in Windows Azure Storage, and we will see in detail about that in my upcoming videos. But to just give an introduction, if I say I have an entity called date entity, I can have one record with a different format, date format, and the other record can have a different date format. Okay, so it doesn't follow a very specific schema. Okay, but what is the actual benefit of it is you have a structured database there. Okay, but again, if you want to have a full-fledged SQL Server relational database, relational structured database, then you have to go for SQL Azure. So SQL Azure looks exactly like your SQL Server, wherein you create relational databases with primary keys, foreign keys, joins, and so on. Okay, so now you know what are the options that are available. The two options is Windows Azure Storage Services and SQL Azure. Okay, so again, it's just what to choose when. Okay, you should know when to choose any of these applications. If you're going for unstructured binary and text data, then you will be going for blobs. If you want to store messages, then you can go for queues. Tables, non-relational structured data, then go for tables. But all these three are unstructured format. So if you want to have a structured relational format, then you go for SQL Azure. Okay, if I can put this in a small example, then maybe most of us will be using a Facebook application. So we can take a Facebook application as an example. So in a Facebook application, if you want the user to upload all their images, videos, then you will put them as blobs. And if you have comments, okay, the user will have you will be posting some comments to your friends ID, so all that comments can go into a table. Okay, now what comes into queues is you send a friend request to another ID, then that gets stored inside queues. Okay, so now you know the difference, like when to use which type of a storage format, when to go for a blob, when to go for a queue, and when to go for a table. Okay, so getting started, if I want to create a Windows Azure storage, and then what I should have. Okay, of course we already know that we need a live account and the Azure subscription. Okay, so you have a free trial and then you can upgrade to a subscription. So once you have these two, then you have to create a storage account. Like if you're going to store your data in Windows Azure blob or tables or queues, then you have to create a storage account. If you're going to store your data in a SQL Azure, then you have to create a SQL Azure account, database server account. Okay, now how many accounts each one can have? Okay, so it depends. You can have one or more accounts, so that is what I've just given it a storage account or accounts. Similarly, you can have one or more accounts here as well. Okay, so now what is a storage account? So if you want to store blobs, queues, or tables, then you will create a storage account. And what is the capacity of a storage account? It's 200 terabytes, so it's pretty huge. So you can load your videos, pictures, then you can have a huge file. Okay, and then structured but not a relational data, you can all have them in one storage account, and the storage account size is 200 terabytes. Now previously, before June 8, 2012, it was one storage account size was 100 terabyte. But now if you're going to create an account now, then a storage account, then the size of the storage account is 200 terabytes. Now how to create a storage account? Okay, you having said already that you need a Windows Live ID, and you should have already registered for a free trial with a Windows Azure. Then you can go ahead and create a storage account here. Under storage, you can go for create a storage account. So I will go with a demo. I already have an account here, and we will go with the demo of how to create a storage account. So I will go to my so you can log into your Windows Azure .com account.com. So here you have account.windowsazure.com, or you can just go here. Okay, so once you create a live ID, then you can sign in with your live ID and create a Windows Azure account. So I already have an account here, and I sign in to my account. So in this video we will be seeing how to create a blob, how to first of all create a storage account, then how to create a blob application, and then deploy your blob application in your Windows Azure Storage account, and also publish your blob application so that anybody can access your blob application. So when I publish my blob application, I will be publishing it as a cloud service. So I will go into my portal now. So this is here you have a portal. If you have not registered for a free trial, so instead of just portal, you will be having option for free trial. Okay, so you can click on the free trial and you will have the option for that. Okay, so now I've got a few things already done here. So I have two storage accounts here, WA Darney storage account and my demo storage service account, and then I have two cloud services running here. Now maybe if you want to go and check what is this cloud service, maybe you can just try service darney.cloud app,